what impact has the pandemic had on you?
Oh, definitely been working from home. It's not easier at all. I thought it would be fun. I don't have to show up to the work and can just be lazy and do all this thing. It's definitely hard, especially on my mental health. When you have, everyone suffers from anxiety at different levels in their life, but this definitely has given a rise to it, and that has affected your performance at work and all that. But again, to be safe, if that's the only alternative, then I definitely support it. But it's hard on days. It's hard on days, definitely, personally, yeah.
Someone I know got COVID, very mild, but still it meant everybody around her had to be tested. And that was fine. I didn't mind it. I have an 82-year-old mother, so it's always nice to have confirmation that you're okay.
Lose a year of my life and great uncertainty. But generally speaking, other than that, just I'm not working, so no real effect other than that. But a lot of social contact, loss of travel, loss of seeing people, and right now, lots of good restaurants.
Oh, well, I'm 71, and we usually spend our winters in Florida. We left in March, rushed back home, sanitizing every hotel room that we stayed in. We even whizzed by our daughter, who lives in Maine, and we haven't seen her husband, or our grandson since January. It's very hard, yeah.
Actually, I'm retired. I'm a senior. It really hasn't impacted me much, except that that you have to watch out what you're doing. The only thing is my kids are all out west, so it doesn't affect me in that way. But some of my grandchildren are here, and sometimes we get to see them, sometimes we don't. Right now, we can't.
I think that it has allowed me to stay home a lot more and actually get some of my own projects done.
Limited. I'm recently retired, so I spend a fair bit of time at my cottage, and I get a fair bit of work done. So I'm getting more time outdoors, enjoying myself. So no, it's been limited. Outside of family, visiting and stuff like that there. So there has been a certain impact with it there, but it's had a bearing, but not significantly.
At the beginning of the pandemic, when it was declared a global pandemic on March 14, 2020, my 2-year-old daughter had gone with her father on holidays to Portugal, to the Azores Islands. They canceled all of the flights, and they were stuck in the island, and I couldn't see my 2-year-old daughter for 4 months. We were away. There was nothing that I could do. I honestly almost went crazy. I talked to the Canadian consulates, embassies, I talked to my MP, but I just had to be patient because we were all affected in many different ways. I think that the pandemic had a way to affect all of us where it hurt the most, and that, as you can imagine, hurt me the most. Fast forward, she was able to come back and she's now safe.
It hasn't had a hell of a lot of impact given the nature of my job, other than just an inability to do what you feel like doing. Like normally at this time of year, I'm in Hawaii golfing. I can't do that. Just restrictions, but surviving. Like I can still buy groceries, I can still travel to some degree within Canada, so.
Well, like most people, I'm feeling a bit isolated and haven't seen my parents in almost a year now. We saw them at Christmas last year, so it'll be a year to come at Christmas. They're in Northern Ontario where things are good, but they're not going to travel here where things are less good. I'm working from home, so my income hasn't been impacted, but my daughter's in high school and she really suffered in the spring and is now back half-time, which she's in grade 12, so it's hard for her.
Actually, there's a lot of things changes during the pandemic, okay? Especially the life, the social distancing, these kind of things that's actually affected us a lot. So I usually go to outside for gymming or do activities. Now these days I cannot do it that much because of the pandemic. Also, I used to like to go to the school for studying, but right now it's hard for me to go to the school and do all my study there. So these are the things that affected me, yes. And see my friends, my family, trying to travel around to see family back home, and I could not do that.
My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law both contracted COVID. They're in the industry. They work hard in the service industry to provide a service, and it just so happened that it got them, and they're recovering. And but it's impacted our family and our friends quite significantly, and so I'm very anxious to get these vaccines out for the general public as well.
Only negative effects.
Like what? Tell me what.
I can't feel comfortable anywhere except for outside. Not even outside, actually. The only place I can feel comfortable is in my own home.
This guess has been kind of lonely, but luckily we weren't affected financially. I mean, I still work, so I'm counting my blessings.
Bad for business. A lot of loss for businesses, and around Ottawa, like, people are struggling to find jobs. So I mean, like, it is what it is, and within time, I think things will get back to normal.